I'm sitting here right now excited because this is a couple firsts going on. So first off, this is going to be our first long form episode, so it's not just the shorts. And so I'm bringing some friends along with me.
Man, my topic of talking those to keep it hooked like dope. Let the ship so hard in these censorship. Damn, God, you're killing me.
What up, though? It's DJ Smithsonian, and you're now tuning in to the library. If you ain't been here, this is the podcast where we talk about hip-hop's relationship with language, how hip-hop manipulates language, and how hip-hop creates its own language. And this is also going to be the debut of the top 5 section of it, and I figured none other to open up the top 5 than have my homeboy here, who I've been talking shit and talking hip-hop with for, 20 years, 30 years now?
Yes. Almost 30 years.
Almost 30 years. I'm talking about my buddy from high school, Will, aka Basko the Saint, in the building back when we were young MCs and DJs and just mixed CD guys. You had everything that you needed off the download, the broke pimping entertainment when we was just young dumb kids. Man,
true.
And I mean, you know, the top 5 came out of, like, the idea came from a lot of the conversations me and this brother had here. So Basko, man, go ahead and introduce yourself, man. Welcome to the show. How you doing, my guy?
Good. Thank you. It's good to see you. It's been a long time. Happy to be here. Can't wait to see what this top 5 is going to be like, because it was hard picking a lot of these songs.
Yeah.
And the format that we're doing it's going to make it even worse. So we're going to see how it's going to go. We're going to see.
Yeah, man. So, and today, the background music right now is a beat of mine, and I chose this beat because it highlights the vocals. So I'll turn it up just a little bit. And that's none other than the Ruffin Brothers. So, you know, of course, taking it back to Detroit, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with this beat. I might just, you know, throw it on the internet somewhere. Like, I'm still broke pimping. Like, I'm not making money off of my music. I'm just throwing it in the ether because I love it. So today we are talking about the impact of vocal samples. So to define it for the audience, a vocal sample is when the producer uses a part of the song where, you know, that particular person is singing, rapping, whatever, and weaves it in. Because a lot of the original hip-hop breaks, like hip-hop samples, hip-hop beats that use samples, focused on the break beats. At first it was the break beats in the late 70s and the early 80s, and then in the 80s, as they transitioned, they started chopping up the bridges and some of the instrumental sections within those songs. And then as we got into the 90s, as we got into our era, Basko, as we were coming up, that's when you would have producers actually taking samples and taking snippets of those people singing and using them as parts of the hook, using them as instruments themselves. So it just kind of changed the game. So real quick, and we're going to end with our top 5 vocal samples, but it's going to be very specific. So we're going to kind of start general and then go into the specifics. So Will, like how important are vocal samples to you? Like what makes you dig like a dope vocal sample on a beat, man?
It has to be soulful. Honestly, I feel like it definitely started with Kanye, 1000%. That's why I definitely fell in love with it. just the way that he would just use them. And it was just kind of like, I've never heard anything like that before in my life. I'm like, what is this? Give me more. And I was just like hooked immediately. So that's definitely what it was for me. Obviously it hasn't been like that in years now. Every now and then we'll get somebody or a beat that'll kind of use a really good sample and it'll be fantastic, but then everything after that'll be kind of, I don't want to say trash, but yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, like the I know. I mean, I give the new school props because I mean, you know, they're taking hip hop and running with it, but I mean, it's not the same.
Exactly.
It's not the same.
I'm not gonna say that it's bad, but it's kind of like how I guess the old heads would talk to us about like music. Oh, this ain't what I used to listen to back in the day. I'm like, true, but I'm like, this new stuff. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not really with it at all. I can't even find nobody. Like I'm still listening to 40-year-old Pusha T and like 30+ Freddie Gibbs. Like, man, this is the shit right here. Because I don't like to do stuff at all.
Yeah, we listen like all these dudes are our age and shit, and it's like a lot of the new shit. And what I don't like about, and I guess they not necessarily don't like, because I am selective of the new music, but the reason why I don't listen to a lot of the new music is because a lot of it seems monotonous. So like I could listen to one artist and their sound, and then I don't have to listen to like 10 other niggas.
Exactly.
Because the other 10 niggas sound like him.
Exactly.
Or sound like her. So it's like you get like a handful of innovation in there.
Nothing really changed.
And similar to what you're talking about like the generation before us being upset at our songs, chopping up their songs. I think we're seeing that now, where like people are sampling the sample. Yeah. And nobody's really digging into the crates. It's like they just put billboards, you know, like top 25 from 94 on the wall and throw darts at it.
Right, and it's like, okay, this one. Yeah,
we're gonna redo
this one.
Yeah, we're gonna redo it. We're gonna redo that. And I think the dopest thing that I loved about vocal samples and still love about vocal samples is that you could find some of those original tracks through those samples.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like you could go through and say, oh my God, like where did this come from? And then, you know, your parents, your uncle or something is playing the record. It's like, man, I know that, or like this is what made me wanna listen further. I mean, we from Motown. We from Motown, and I started listening to more Motown when I started like sampling than I did growing up. You know, because it's like you got the main staples, you got the Christmas, you know, Temptations and Motown Christmas and all of that, but like I wasn't really digging. Like I wasn't digging deep. I wasn't trying to figure out what Pip number 2 was gonna do. You know. You know what I'm saying? So, so you brought up Kanye, man. I think one of my other favorites, and let's just talk favorites for a minute. You know, let's one of my favorites to really like do damage with the vocal sample is The Alchemist. Because the Alchemist is like real subtle with it.
Yeah, he is.
He real subtle with it. And I mean, like Hold You Down is still like, I still love his version better. Yeah. And you know, like he had a way, Havoc from Mobb Deep had a way, like when they were using vocals, you knew whatever rapper that they were going to work with was going to use those vocals in a verse.
Yep.
So like Mobb Deep's Getaway, you know, and actually hearing them insert that into their bars and leaving room for the sample to breathe, man. Well, we don't hear a lot of that no more.
Not at all. Not at all. I wish, but I mean, it's a new era. People like different stuff, and they're kind of rolling with it. Whatever people like, they just like, all right, let's just keep pumping that out. Sooner or later, I think it might kind of go back to actual like lyricism and I'm not gonna say talent, but
no, it's talent.
Trying.
It's talent. It's talent. Like this is the show. This show we talk about like how hip hop manipulates language. There's like very little wordplay. It's like I'm getting money on the block, shooting on my ops, running past the cops. It's 6 o'clock.
Right.
You know, and I mean that's cool. Like 3-6, like innovated that whole flow.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
like,
fine.
Like when Project Pat was doing it, it was new.
Right.
It was new. Now everybody wants to sound like that.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and even Project Pat had some wordplay with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because he always put that at the end. And it's
right.
Liquor, and then like the cadence make like because it's not just about the words, but it's also about how you say them. And
right.
yeah, like I don't know, a lot of these kids, like they kind of get forced in, they kind of get catapulted into the game. But I mean, you could tell, you could tell they're not putting any energy,
not at all,
into the lyrics.
They definitely are lazy about it. It seems like they don't really. Not to say that they don't care, but it's kind of like they're trying to get after the money. So it's just like, all right, let me write down something real quick that kind of rhymes go together. Okay, cool, boom. Go ahead, let this go out. It'll probably chart just because, you know, who they are. So,
well, I think we are at an inflection point because there was that one post that was like something about like hip hop not having like something on like the top 10 or whatever, or the Billboard. It was like some. Like Billboard or not having a Billboard #1. I don't pay too much attention to Billboard because they make shitty lists.
Right.
Like they just make terrible lists. Complex makes terrible lists, and I don't have enough followers to get canceled for saying it. But I'm gonna say it. I believe that if you are only profiting over hip hop. Like if the only reason why you're talking about hip hop is to fucking make money, then you don't get a say.
I agree with that.
Because it's always gonna be like who's the top sellers, and all of that. You know, like who sold the most, who's got the most streams. So this is who we're gonna put at #1. Like you're not paying attention to the rest of it, to the context.
Because I think, speaking back to Kanye, his last album, it was like #1 on all the streaming platforms. I'm like it wasn't that good of an album, but it's Kanye, so
yeah, it's Kanye.
It's Kanye.
People go run to Kanye, and I like Kanye is a sensitive subject for me because I miss the old Kanye, and I just really wish that the people around him would just like tell him to cut the shit.
I think they have, but I think he has so much money. It's kind of like I got fuck you money. Like why do I need to listen to you?
Yeah, this motherfucker got like Lex Luthor money.
Yeah, like I don't need to listen to you. Like who are you?
I can do what I want.
Right, exactly.
So, I mean, it is what it is. So give me another one. Give me another producer that you got. Like just like vocal samples, like you know is gonna hit hard. You know, and then after that, we're gonna talk about the era that we're gonna focus on today. It could be any up down subject matter that we're talking about later.
I really liked, but this is like during the Dipset era, was the Heat Makers. I love the Heat Makers. I love the Heat Makers. I think they did some stuff with Joel Ortiz as well. I just love it. I think it's going to be on our list. I'm just going to mention it right now. I really mean it. It was probably like growing up, my favorite song. It was on repeat at least half the day, if not all day.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even because of the lyrics, it was just because of the way that they did that beat.
So
it's just, man. Even now, like I'll bump it in the car and it's like, man, you know, I'll leave this song for a couple like 20 more minutes,
man,
for me to ride home to.
The one thing I love, man, the Heat Makers. I mean, they had it in the damn name. So I got a funny story about I really mean it. So, We just talked about this. Like, so for those that don't know me, like for real, I'm in the military. And I'm in the National Guard. My thoughts and opinions are my own. Like, I'm not here representing anything that I do when I'm in uniform. It's just something that I do part-time. But when it came for, like, I had a running joke with one of my buddies, and we were talking about whether do we stay in or get out. And I was like, I got to stay in. Like, I got to get promoted. So, like, one day, like, I'm getting ready to go to drill, and my wife could say, "Oh, Major, don't go." And then we can start playing. I really mean it.
Okay.
Oh, as I leave, because it's a Major Harris sample for those that don't know. I was like, yeah. So now I'm a major. So now she's got to say it. I'm gonna get her to say it once.
I like it.
I'm gonna get her to say it once. So we already alluded to it. You mentioned one that's probably gonna make the list. So we are focusing on the Rocafella, like, Dipset era, because this era is very near and dear to our hearts. I mean, this was the soundtrack to our lives when we were just in E-Course High, slinging bootleg and mix CDs, you know, trying to get a piece of the action. So, you know, when we think about this era, like, I think about, you know, like the Blueprint. I think about those first couple Dipset albums. State Property.
Underrated.
Underrated. Like, they're I never see them on, like, you know, top 10 like super groups, or top 10 hip hop groups. But I mean, that was like the Philly Wu-Tang. Man.
Basically, yeah. Basically, I don't think we'll probably see anything like that ever again. I might be wrong. I know ASAP was kind of in that lane for a little bit, but I don't know what happened to them. I didn't really keep up with them.
My personal opinion, I don't know. In my personal opinion, I didn't really listen to too many people in that camp outside of Rocky and Ferg. So I don't know what everybody else was doing.
Right.
Coast Contra. They're the closest that we're gonna see right now.
Okay.
So they've got like a couple freestyles that are like insane. Like, they took the Scenario beat and just ran with it, and it's hands down the best posse cut that we will hear, you know, this side of like 2020.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm going to check it out then. I haven't heard it, so I'm like, all right, cool. You gave me something to
yeah. You gotta check them out, man. Those dudes are dope. And then, but yeah. So when you think about that era, like, what do you think about? Like, man, what are some? Don't get into the beats yet. Just like some albums, some modes, some mindsets. Like what space were you in at this time?
It's a weird thing to say, but I felt like listening to those albums and just growing up, it kind of made me mature a little bit. That's just me. But when I think of those albums, obviously the Blueprint, Philadelphia Freeway, hot take, I think Late Registration is the best Kanye album.
That's not a hot take. That is not a fucking hot take. That is not a hot take. That is man. I agree. I agree. Late Registration. So I remember buying Late Registration in 05. And I bought Late Registration and Paul Wall's People's Champ the same time, because both of them had Drive Slow.
No, right. They both had Drive Slow, right?
They both had Drive Slow, and they came out. I don't know if they came out in the same week, but they came out around the same time. So for you kids that are listening, like, your older brothers, sisters, cousins, you know, your OGs, like niggas had to wait until Tuesday.
Yep, Tuesday
to go buy records.
Yep.
In person. You know, I mean, you could bootleg, you could download some shit, but you might not download the whole thing.
Right. Yep, that was the issue. Trying to get the albums off the internet back then. It's like, oh, okay,
Man.
I got all right, this is the list, but it'll have like 12 songs. Like, but I heard the whole track was on 10. I'm like, so what ain't supposed to be on here?
Yep.
And then somebody asked, like, I want the College Dropout. I was like, all right, but it's a little bit more songs it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
I still got my money, so it didn't matter. But still, like, I didn't know what the whole track list was, so I was kind of stuck. So yeah, every high releases came out on Tuesday. I think somebody came out like on a Friday or something. It might have been Jay, but I'm pretty sure pretty much everything came out on a Tuesday.
Yeah, for the most part. Speaking of the blueprint, like the blueprint is my 9/11 story. So
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
So
that's right.
9/11, I was skipping. Like I broke out of Miss King class, and like I'm planning my escape because I'm like, man, I'm going to Sam Goody or Harmony House or FYE, whichever one had it, and I'm getting the blueprint today. And then somebody stopped me in the halls and talked to me about like the Times Square attack and the planes coming down. Then we had that whole assembly, and then like we just left school. We just left, like, fuck it, like
right.
You know, we don't know what the hell is going on, man. We going home,
right?
But yeah, those are them days, man. Yeah, I feel you on maturing, cause like it was, I don't know, like we were at that age to where we were finding out who we were gonna be as men, and also like a lot of the MC, and I'm learning this now. Like a lot of the MCs that we were really banging in that era wasn't that much older than us.
Not really.
You know what I'm saying? Wayne is just a couple years older than us. Santana's just a couple years older than us. Like the young guns. I don't know if we're all the same age.
I think we're all the same age.
I don't know if they hit 40 yet. So it's like we were listening to the shit that they were rapping about while we were doing what we were doing. And it was like we felt that, you know what I'm saying? We felt that, and I think that was dope. So that's the era, and we're gonna talk about. So before we turn the record on, so Basko, you had something to note about like some parameters, like when the era ended.
So I did some research on this. So the era ended around 2013. The last album that was technically under Rocafella was Jay-Z's, what was it? Magna Carta, Holy Grail. That was the last one. So anything between,
what, like
1990?
Say like Dynasty?
Yeah, Dynasty. We'll do Dynasty. I mean, we could go back all the way to Reasonable Doubt, but I'd rather do Dynasty.
Yeah, because
forward.
Like Reasonable Doubt, Volume 1, Volume 2, like they had some dope samples. But I think the easy button is like, so Volume 2. Although Volume 2 had some dope samples, like Volume 2 kind of had like some pop samples. So like,
true.
You know, I bet like if Complex decided that they were gonna have like the top samples of all time, like they're gonna do Hard Knock Life. Like that's gonna be on the list.
Yeah, that's gonna be like top 3.
Yeah, and it's just not true. It's just not true. Like it's a great song. It's an awesome song. It's an innovative song. But when we're talking about like the top samples, top hip hop samples, like Jay-Z has rapped over better samples just by himself.
Yep.
And I mean, even if we went, you know, for like In My Lifetime, I mean, the In My Lifetime sample,
what was fantastic.
The song, like on let's see, was Imaginary Players, was that on Reasonable Doubt or Volume 1?
think that was on Volume 1, I think. I might be wrong.
And that had the Renee and Angela sample, the Imaginary Playdates, which was dope. Like it was so dope. But yeah, like so, Little Orphan Annie, like I don't care. Like Jay-Z ain't make that record for us, man. Jay-Z made that record for Total Request Live. Like
Imaginary Players was Volume 1.
Okay.
It was Volume 1.
So we're gonna introduce the top 5, and I figure this is a fitting shirt to wear to debut the top 5.
Yeah, I'm wearing a horrible shirt, but yeah, we'll just rock with it.
Hey, you know Redman makes these.
He do.
Like, so he had this shirt on when he did the verses.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, man, I gotta find this fucking shirt. Because, I mean, you know, people can say what they will about Eminem. But, like, Eminem is always going to be a GOAT level MC. Eminem is, like, one of the few white folks in hip-hop that is always recognized where he sits at the table and what he does. And, you know, it is what it is. So, we got ourselves a top 5. So, myself and Basko, we're going to create a top 5. And here's how we're going to do it. So, I'm going to flip a coin. Whoever wins the coin toss adds the first song to the list. And then after that, you add and adjust. So, the second person will add song number 2. And they also have the right to rearrange. We'll go back and forth until we get 5. And then the last person, since they only had 2 choices, they can rearrange the whole list. Excuse me. So we're going to see what this does. And since it's 4th of July coming up, I have a silver dollar. Another bit of irony. So like I've got this in like a little plastic pouch, and the other coin in this thing is the British version of a silver dollar. It's got the Queen on it. Go figure. America, bitch. So, you are the guest. You get to call it.
Tails.
You got it, man. All right, so we're gonna keep a tally. We're gonna get Mario on here. So, you know, this, and let's shout out our sponsors real quick. The Appraise the Phrase podcast and my boy Mario. Fun fact, now you knew me and Mario went to high school together, so you can only assume that Basko went to high school with us. And these niggas graduated at the same time. Damn near next to each other because y'all last names are so close together. But we ain't gonna put the whole government out there.
Yeah, we ain't gonna put the whole government out there, but yeah, we're related. We're related. So, yeah, that's my guy. I ain't seen him in a while.
Oh, yeah. So, like, Mario, shout outs, man. And, yeah, so we're going to see about getting some graphics and stuff to actually put the list on the screen in post. But, Will, you got the first song on the list. What you got?
Oh, well, you already know. It's What We Do Is Wrong. By Freeway. Off rip.
Ooh.
Off rip.
I knew you were going to do it. I knew you were
going
to do it.
As soon as you contacted me about this, I'm like, oh, cool, great. You already know what's happening. Off rip. Don't even try, because that's my first one. Automatically. Off rip.
First one. Check the box on my list. Can't stand you, ass nigga. Man, so like what we do. I mean, like Just Blaze he destroyed it, man.
He did.
Like he destroyed it. Like that song. Like this song is still to this day like one of the best hip hop records of all times.
Still. One of my favorites. I think I remember first hearing that. What was it? I think it came on BET. And it wasn't, I don't think it was 106 in Park or anything. It just came on like it
might be Rap City, man.
It might have been Rap City. And I'm like, what is this? And I spent a good like gonna say hour trying to find it on LimeWire. Like the correct version and everything. It took me a minute, but I found it. So that song has a special place in my heart. I was fiending for that album just because of that one song. I ain't even kept the rest of the album was trash. And it wasn't. The rest of the album was fantastic. But that song is forever imprinted on me.
Man, look, shout out to Freeway. Shout out to Philadelphia Freeway. That record still lives with me to this day. Like, I can still run that back and forth. And you know, peace to the brother Freeway and everything that he's doing. So all right, it's my turn.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna keep that at number 1.
Yep. Where it should be.
So well, because I only got 2 songs. I only got 2 choices in this motherfucker, man. So, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go with Heart of the City. Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City. Produced by Kanye West. Because that shit, like, ain't no love in the heart of this man. Look, that shit. I felt that. And I gotta add that, not just because it was a dope sample, but I felt Jay-Z hurt. I felt that was one of them songs where, like, he heard the song and, like, I'm gonna write based on what I hear. I don't know if he actually did that, but it just felt like it, you know. And I mean, Jay-Z was at this point to where, like, Jay-Z was, I think the blueprint was also, you know, like that post volume 2, post volume 3, where, you know, he's made all these hits, but a lot of them were like really poppy hits.
Right.
And, you know, like that blueprint was like, I had to let y'all know that I'm a God tier MC, you know. And I mean, Ain't No Love was one of those, you know, that made me feel like that was his statement, like, yo. So I'm gonna go ahead and write that one down. Ain't No Love.
Okay.
What's your next one?
So I'm gonna keep it in that realm with Kanye and Jay, and I'm gonna go with Some People Hate.
Ooh. Some people hate it.
Some People Hate. Now that album wasn't good, but pretty much anything that Kanye kind of touched around there was just like
everything he touched. I mean, it was the butters.
Yes, it was
the butters. All right, so we got Ain't No Love, Some People Hate. How are you gonna stack those 3? So
honestly, I'm gonna leave it as it is.
Okay, so Ain't No Love number 2.
Yep.
And Some People Hate at number 3.
Yep. I'm gonna leave it as it is.
Oh. Okay, so for my next one, and I'm gonna put it at number 4. Like, I'm not. Well, nope. I'm gonna put it at number 3, and I'm gonna take Some People Hate down and put it at number 4.
Okay.
And here's why. This is my sleeper.
Okay.
And I had to add this to the list because I gotta acknowledge who made this beat. Feel It in the Air. Feel It in the Air by Beanie Siegel. Like, everything about, like, the beat, like, when, because, you know, it was another one of them music video moments. Like,
exactly.
I didn't hear the song first. I seen the music video first. And, like, I'm seeing how Beans is moving in the video. And I'm seeing, you know, it's like you got that little air of paranoia with you. You don't know what's happening. You anticipating something. You don't know what it's going to be. And I really think he embodied that sample. And I had to add it to this list like I say, because of who produced it. Do you know who produced "Feel It in the Air"? I had to look this shit up.
I do not.
Heavy D.
Really?
Heavy D produced "Feel It in the Air." I never fucking knew. I didn't even know he made beats.
Neither did I.
And
Wow.
like that was a mind blower for me.
Okay.
That was a mind blower for me.
Okay.
So that's why I'm gonna put that at number 3. So you got a chance for one more to add to the top 5, and you can put it wherever you want.
So I'm going to go for a big swing here. I'm going to go with another Jay-Z, Kanye. I'm going with Lucifer.
Ooh.
And I'm moving that to number 2. So it should go What We Do Is Wrong, Lucifer, Heart of the City, Feeling in the Air, and then Some People Hate. That's what it should be.
Ooh. I gotta update my pen list. Man.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about Lucifer. like for real. I ain't even gonna lie. Like I wasn't even doing much thinking about Jay-Z. Like I wrote Heart of the City, and then I just left it alone. I just left it alone. Man, Lucifer was so hard.
It was. Yeah, thinking back, like when you asked me to do this, I was like, okay, so obviously it's gonna be Kanye Feel, but I'm like, Jay did some amazing things on those beats. So like, let me do my research on what Jay has touched. So Lucifer, yes.
Man,
I still got a couple more in there.
Look, all right,
Jay and Kanye, but definitely I swung for the fences on that one. So
all right, What We Do, Lucifer, Ain't No Love, Feel It in the Air, and Some People Hate.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make no adjustments. I withhold my power to veto, and this is gonna be our top 5. This is gonna be our top 5 Rocafella era songs with vocal samples. Man, this is a dope list, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like this, I'm gonna have to run all of these motherfuckers back this afternoon, man.
So you don't want to switch nothing. You don't think nothing.
I ain't like if I gotta rank those 5.
Yep.
If I gotta rank those 5. I rank those 5. Like I'm thinking about, the only reason why I'm not gonna swap out Lucifer and Ain't No Love, because that's the only thing that I could think of doing, is because my whole justification for like Heart of the City is like how Jay-Z attacked that beat.
Okay.
And if I take that same justification and I apply it to Lucifer, like I think he spoke to that beat better.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna change it. I'm not gonna switch it out. That's gonna be the top 5.
Move.
That's gonna be the top. That's gonna be the top 5. So now we got to open up the floor for honorable mentions, and the first honorable mention has got to be I Really Mean It.
Yes.
Like we did.
Yes. We did.
Like it's the first one, man. Like shit. That was a good one, and it didn't even just us talking this through. Like it didn't make it.
So you don't think it's better than Feeling in the Air? Like now. Like if you got in your car and you like, all right, feel it in the air, or I really mean it. But I mean, it depends on the mood also.
It depends on the mood. It depends on the mood. Like if I'm getting after it, like I really mean it is that shit. But like if I'm in a space, like feel it in the air is the one. Like and I mean, yeah, like so the veto rules don't mean that I can swap anything out. Like that's just I could just rearrange the 5 that we listed. Like cuz I don't want to make it like, oh man, that's totally, you know, I want to make it fair, right? Like we put this shit on the list. But I mean, it just goes to like what were like the heavy hitters. And I mean, I've got I really mean it like on my sheet of paper, man. What's another one? What's another honorable mention you got?
So this song is coming from State Prop from their first album.
Ooh.
And it's with Beans and Freeway, Nowhere to Go.
Ooh.
So What We Do Was Wrong is like my number 1 song of all time. That's number 2. Because the way Beans kind of set it up, like he was just throwing like little curveballs. And then when Freeway stepped up, he just hit it out the park with that verse. And it just, with the Kanye just killing, like just, again, he was in that era, he was just like, I got y'all.
He was untouchable.
I'm that dude. And that song,
that one. So I've got one State Property song that's on my honorable mentions, and that's off State Property 2, Chain Gang.
Okay.
Want Me Back.
I had it on my list.
Want Me Back. Want Me Back, man.
Yep, I had it on my list. Yep.
Want Me Back. And I mean, like I had, you know, kind of in that same vein as Want Me Back, you know, on Diplomatic Immunity, Dipset had Who Am I?
Yep.
Like, I feel like those songs.
That was on my list too, yep.
Those songs were back to back. And then, like OG Kanye was on my list too. So I had both Through the Wire and Slow Jams. Like I had them. I had them because like when Through the Wire dropped, like I didn't know who the fuck
that
Kanye was.
Right.
And like everything about it was just so dope.
Right.
Like it didn't even sound like it sounded like it sounded like what I remember like growing up hip hop would be. Like it didn't even sound complete. You know, and I don't know if that had to do with the fact that his jaw was still wired shut,
right, and he was spitting.
You know, but like it just sounded like this is just rough hip hop. Like raw shit. It just reminded me of like that Dilla shit, that like old school Tribe shit, that old school Ghetto Boys, you know, NWA shit. When it was like, nigga, we just gonna get up and we gonna rap.
Yeah. Right.
And and then Slow Jams, like I'm on a completely different list. Like I think, cause I don't think it's the best like Rocafella vocal samples, but as a complete beat, I might add this to my like top 10 hip hop beats of all time.
Okay.
Just because as a complete beat, like I feel like not if we don't just highlight the sample and we listen to the drums and we listen to how in some way like he managed to have one instrumental that complemented his style, Twista, and Jamie Foxx.
Yep.
And I was like, that's just reckless. Like this beat is a monster. And then like seeing how many numbers that it did, and like that shit, I feel like that song like got people in our age group to like actually play old school music.
Yep.
For you know, like they women ladies and shit, because you know, like niggas wasn't really, but you know, because it was like the beginning of the button up era.
Yep.
So you know, like everybody put the Dickie suits up and the tall tees up and just wore like extra large dress shirts. Like we didn't. Like this is what we did. It was like, well, we gotta listen to the slow jams and shit. And like next thing you know, like I'm in the car You know, with somebody that looks nice, like listening to the stylistics and shit. So like, this is what I'm supposed to do now, you know. Like banging the OG Luther and shit, man. So, so that's up there, man. You got any more honorable mentions?
Man, I got a bunch, man. I'm looking at my list here.
Come on, run them down.
So, we're gonna run them down. There was one by on Jewel's first album, and it was called "Jealousy." My problem.
Jealousy.
Yep.
Yeah. Man.
Yes. Yep.
Man,
so
that was a good one.
I had that. I got. It was only a minute. It was only a minute song. The Heatmakers made it for Jewel's again. It's How I Feel.
Ooh.
That was another one. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I can really put that on the list because it's just a minute. But that beat.
But it was a heavy minute. It was a heavy hit minute, man.
Heavy minute. Then I also had another by Jewel's. He sampled "Can You Help Me" by Usher. Why?
Ooh.
He sampled that. So, like, I had a lot of Heatmakers on here. You already mentioned Through the Wire. I had Through the Wire. I had We Are the Champions. With Kanye.
Ooh, yes.
Yep. I had that.
The Champions beat. The Champions beat is hands down. Like, yeah, that's a hot one.
We didn't have, because we mentioned I Really Mean It. We didn't have Oh Boy.
We didn't. Nope.
Oh Boy. Dipset Forever.
Yo, okay. Forever. Yeah.
Forever. And then I kind of went into like my Kanye phase here. So I had Never Let Me Down. And my favorite Kanye West song of all time, is 2 words.
Ooh, shit.
2 words is my favorite Kanye West song of all time.
Man.
Then after that,
song still slaps.
It does.
This song still slaps.
I listened to it the other day, and I'm like, man, let me just put this on repeat a couple more times because this is bringing back memories. After that, then I had like Diamonds from Kanye, Addiction, Kanye.
Addiction, yeah.
And then I had I kind of wanted to put in the top 5, but our top 5 is too good. It's Devil in a New Dress.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one. I Wonder.
Oh man, like I didn't even touch. I didn't even touch Graduation.
I did my research, so I wonder.
Man, you dug deep, bro. You dug deep.
That's what I said. I texted you. I'm like, this is kind of hard, man. Like I dug. And then obviously, Otis.
Yeah.
And Otis. And then you already mentioned I Want Me Back, and we already talked about Hard Knock Life. But again, that wasn't gonna be in my like top 5. I was just like a.
Yeah, this is like a talking point. Like we know there was a sample in there. Man, this is look, we might have to run back another episode and just I mean, we could pick any of these, like we could do like just a state property episode. We could do like a Dipset episode. We could do Kanye like outside of like what he did for The Rock at this time. I mean, there's a whole lot that we could touch. So we're gonna have to bring back the vocal samples again. We're gonna have to run it back. We're gonna have to change the parameters a little bit, and we're gonna have to run it back.
So if we do run it back, so that means the top 5 that we have now is not gonna be included in the next batch?
Yes.
I would assume so, like, because that wouldn't be fair.
Yeah, if it hits the top 5, like that's the top 5 for this episode. So we gotta do a new top 5, because I think if we pick the same songs again, it would be like the same
results,
like conversation.
Well, not the same results, but maybe a song or two might be close. But it'll probably be close.
It'll be damn close. It'll be damn close. So this is dope. So look, we're gonna go ahead and cut the recording, and I'm gonna chop it up with my boy Basko a little bit after this, man. Brother, is there anything that you would like to close with before we shut the shut the tape off?
Bring old Kanye back. How about that?
Absolutely.
How about we do that? I mean, he doesn't have to come all the way back because I'll take my dark fantasy Kanye. I'll take that. That's fine. I'll take that. But yeah, I need some more soul music in my life.
We need it. I mean, even I'll take. No. We need the old, like, when we need that, like, initial, like, my dark fantasy. I could do my dark fantasy, but like I not necessarily want to hear the same thing,
right?
But like, I mean, he's got so much more experience in the game. I mean, even if he was like, I'm gonna take something that I did before and I'm gonna flip it one more time, type shit. Because like now, you know, he's using orchestras and all kinds of stuff. He got session players. Like, I would love to see, you know, what he does now, and like outside of the episodes, you know, like, and I will second that wholeheartedly. And yeah, I think Kanye probably was always like this, but we just
didn't know.
We didn't know, or we didn't care, because like he was on our side. And then, you know, it's like, I think now he's just like pushing extremes. I think he just feels the need to be extreme, and it's like wherever the edge is, like I'm gonna figure it out. So we're gonna see.
Yeah,
but
we're gonna see. Yeah, he got too much money. So
he got way too much. He got way too much money. He out there in Wyoming doing whatever the fuck he wants. You know. Meanwhile, like, my black ass is in my den / beat studio / my wife's art studio, because she's got paint and sewing machines and all of this stuff. Shout out to her. Shout out to my wife Aisha, who actually deals with me and my nonsense, and is as much of a hip hop head as I am. And I'll do another plug for what her sister are doing. So they've got a line called Got Music, to where they take vinyl records and make earrings out of them. So my wife like heats up the vinyl, and, you know, she cuts it up, adds a little earring thing, and she sells the earrings, and it's dope. It's a dope thing. She gets all different colors. So the latest one that I don't have it in here, but like I bought doubles of the Larry June. I think it was whichever one that had the orange and white creamsicle colors.
Okay.
Good job, Larry. Good job. And then so like I kept a copy for myself, and then she took a copy to cut up and make earrings out of. So shout out to her. And then we're gonna close it out. Shout out to our sponsors who helped make this happen. The Appraise the Phrase show. If you haven't been listening, pay attention. They're in season 3. And I'm helping them, and I am debuting a Spotify playlist that has punchlines that feature all the phrases that they talk about. So like it's some dope shit, man. And Basko, I'll send you the link. Like this is like new development. Like, like I just cut the promo for this shit like 4 days ago. Okay. All right. So, you know, we'll have the Spotify link, and these are all songs that have lyrics that feature the phrases used in Appraise the Phrase. So shout out to them. And then Basko, just want to say one more time, man, I appreciate you, my brother, for sharing this space with me. I'm glad we got to catch up and chop it up. I mean, we go back and forth on Facebook Messenger like all the fucking time. So I don't feel like I lost touch with you, but like it's good to actually like see you and like talk this shit out. So
likewise.
Yeah. So we'll cut the recording, and then like we'll chop it up for a couple more minutes before I get off of here. Everybody, thank you for listening to the library. Peace.
Man, my topic of talking those to keep it hooked like dope. Censorship so hard in these censorship. Damn, God.